Hello Dragons and Dragonesses, I'm Reactor Dragon and welcome to Starmade. I know I haven't been active, at all for the last couple of months, but yeah, life. Anyway, if you looked at the title, you're probably here because you want to know more about this new power system and some of the other updates that came out with the new power system. Yeah, don't mind that I don't have a new skin right now because I don't have the time and the talent at the moment. It's simple, I know, but I just didn't do it yet. Also, in a few seconds, a Movie Maker table of contents will appear on the screen detailing what I'm going to go through in this video. Alright, so the first thing that we have got to go through is the new power system and how it works. Basically, with this new power system, you have what's called a reactor, and instead of building in these crazy patterns, this is probably a bad example actually, because this looks really complicated. These are not the reactor cores. These things that look like the old power modules, these are the reactors. Basically, you put them in any shape you want. It doesn't affect their efficiency anymore, so you don't have to have these crazy L shapes flying through the sky anymore, or space, or whatever. Basically, you can just make them one big cube, and they'll function just as well as if you put them in one straight line. Important things to note is you can have up to 10 of them without any consequence of their stability. What I mean by this is, if you have 10 of them, you'll see that it says efficiency 100% and stability 100% or something like that. Basically, their stability is how close they are to being basically a bomb. If you have stability at like 10%, that's pretty bad because one direct hit and your entire ship will probably explode. But if you have stability 100%, then your ship's probably going to be completely fine because it's going to be able to take a couple more hits before it goes boom. So let's head over to my example ship and I will show you how to get your reactor completely stable for bigger ships. Alright, we're back. So this is my example ship. The ship I was just in is right over there. Ignore that for now. And here we have 5 reactor cores. You'll see stabilization 100%, and you'll have all these other things. So you'll also see stabilization underneath stabilization, because that obviously makes sense, and that says 0.0%. That's because it has no stabilizers. So note that also these are called reactor powers instead of power modules, because if you activate the old power module, it'll just say power in parentheses old. So yeah, like I said, if you have 10, you'll see stabilization 100% and then some other things. However, if you start putting more down, you'll see eventually we're going to get to the point where stabilization is going down. See, it's 90.9, 83.8, and it's going to just keep going down faster. So how do we fix this? Well, I'm going to keep it at 5, but as a demonstration, I'm going to take, let's just say this is more like 50. Okay, and trust me, you don't want to have so many because you see that tower over there? You see some power modules inside where my cursor is right now, and at the very top of that tower in that weird looking spire, that's where the stabilizers are. So let's actually get to the stabilizers now. Reactor stabilizer. You'll see that you have regeneration and stabilization still, but you have the stabilization underneath that changing depending on how far it is from the main reactor. You'll also see in parentheses a number of meters out of number of meters. The second number of meters is the minimum distance for you to get maximum stabilization out of your reactors. In other words, see how it says 5 meters for these 5 blocks? You'll take it 5 meters, place it down, and you'll see that stabilization is 100 and the other stabilization is also 100. And that's how you make sure that it's actually stable. Please note that if you have 2 reactors, it will go to both of them in equal amounts. But let's just say this is too ugly for you and you don't want this to cut through straight through your ship, and let's say your dining hall is right here and you're like, who the heck decided to place this radioactive pipe next to my food dish? Well, you probably don't want that. So what you do is you hit C on this, grab a Reactor Stabilizer stream node, and place it, like right here, and you can actually direct the change of where you want the stream to actually go. But it also doesn't like going directly above the reactor, which is kind of odd, but that's how it works. And for instance, let's bring back the original one. This is going to be C, hook it over to here. Now let's hit C on this one, hook that onto this one, and you'll see that instead of going to the right place, it's confusing. And okay, I'm back, so I was doing it backwards, that's why. What you want to do is you want to hit C on the first one that you wanted to go to. So for instance, like this, hit C on this, place down your next one. Hit C on this, place down your next one, and you'll be able to connect them in any way you want. So now we have this little reactor and we have its stabilizer. What else can we do with the reactor in this new update? Well, if we take a reactor conduit and make it so the nodes are connected to the reactor power and then a straight line, node. Wow, I said node already like 7 times during this one recording. If you change it like this, it will not do things quite the way you expect them, because now it's trying to go in both directions. I highly suggest just keeping it a straight line to wherever you want it to go. Now, what do you do with these? Well, I have a reactor defense chamber with me. If you want to figure out what other chambers there are, there's a bunch of them. You'll see that it will say stabilization, yada yada, but reactor defense chamber functional. If you have a bigger reactor, you're going to need more chambers for it to be functional. It will say like size 7 or size 5 or size 300 depending on the size of your reactor. Something else I forgot to mention is you probably want to keep an eye on those numbers about how far you want these stabilizers from the reactor, because after about 20 or so, it becomes like 40 meters and higher very quickly. So keep an eye on those numbers, because if you make a huge reactor and don't consider that your stabilizer will need to be really far away, you're basically going to be flying around the equivalent of a toothbrush with a tennis ball on the end of it. Okay, back to chambers. Oh gosh, I got on this. I'm not a professional by any means, but I haven't seen anyone post a video on all the new things. Like, there's a bunch of old ones detailing the new power system, but nothing up to date. So if you click R on this, you will see a highlighted icon. Click on that, you will see Reactor Defense Chamber. That's the one we just placed down. You want to click Specify Chamber. Now you can see all these different things. Please keep in mind that there's sometimes a little scroll wheel so you can scroll over. So defense can either be armor or shield. Let's say we want this to be shield. We click on shield, it's highlighted, and click OK. Now you will see an amount of RC used. This is basically how much points you use from the reactor. Now, you'll remember that clicking on this brought us to a tech tree. Clicking on revert chamber will remove this effect, and we just have to select it again if we want it again. Or we can select the other one, which is the armor, if we want that instead. Now, how do we get those other upgrades? We add another conduit and add another defense chamber, activate it, and you will see we have another slot open. Again, click on it, specify chamber, scroll over, and you will see your shield capacity, shield type damage, and all these things now highlighted because we chose this base shield enhancement for the first one. Hovering over it will let you see more detail on what it does. So let's say we want shield outage redux. We'll click OK after clicking that, but this one's a little different. Many text trees, keep this in mind, will have, instead of you having to click again to get the shield outage redux 2, instead it will just be a level up, which will be the equivalent but without having to add more chambers. So let's do that to make this a level 2. And just like that, we have a level 2. Now if we go back to this one, keep in mind that this is the one that we started out with. Rotate this so it's actually facing the right way. As far as I know, it doesn't matter if the arrow has to point to the reactor or away. As long as it looks like the power plug is connected, just have to put it there, activate, and you'll see the tech tree has split. We can add something else if we want, such as shield capacity. We can level it up, and it's at max level now. So now we have some pretty good shields. Unfortunately, we don't have any shield blocks on it yet, because those are also changed in this update. So, you might be asking, how did the shields change? Won't they do the exact same thing? Unfortunately, no. With the new update, a shield recharger will instead cast a bubble instead of the original shield. You can see the radius of this shield when you have a recharger selected, and you can also see the radius in the brackets next to shield origin. Now, if we add some chargers so we can charge it faster and have more, then that's pretty nice. Now you're thinking, oh, how about I add like 7 more shield bubbles to this thing? Won't that make it stronger? No, it will most definitely not. Let's make this shield actually a little bigger. Note that adding 2 makes a very small difference in the actual radius, so you're going to have a lot of shield rechargers in order to actually make a noticeable difference. However, again, you want to say, let's make a smaller shield inside the bigger one, and then I'll have 2 shields guarding my main ship. That's not how it works. You'll see clicking it highlights in red, while these are outlined in green. You'll also see that the shield produced by this one is red. That's because it's not active. That's because there's 2 shield generators that are separated inside the same shield. What this means is you can only have 1 shield generator per bubble. The smaller shield will automatically turn off inside the presence of a bigger shield, which prevents you from stacking shields. So if you want to have multiple shields, you're going to have to make sure that the shield generators that produce it are never inside another shield bubble. A smaller update to keep in mind is a new thing that we have yet to see before. Let me quickly figure this out. Which ones would it be? Okay, so I couldn't get it to show up, which is kind of odd. I thought it would easily show up, but instead it just kind of refused. It's a new system where you can't have blocks in a long line like this and have the exact same strength as blocks that are grouped together like this over here. But don't worry, this doesn't mean that your giant 2 meter by 2 meter space rod won't break apart when you try to do hard turns. It just means that this block at the end will actually take more damage from direct fire than any of these blocks that are surrounded by other blocks. So after all that, I think it's about time that we demonstrate how the shields will actually work. So give me a few seconds while I get back over to my main ship, and I will fire the guns and we'll see how the shields hold up and what it looks like when you shoot at them. Alright, we're gonna fire in 3, 2, 1. As you can see, the shields look exactly the same from this perspective. However, what we just saw is us shooting at the shields. However, we did not hit a bubble. This is because the bubble only demonstrates how far the shield will travel over the blocks that it covers. For instance, the bubble will cover all the blocks on our ship. However, on a bigger ship, the radius that we have on this ship will probably cover maybe your hangar for your smaller ships, and everything else will take direct damage while your hangar blocks will be shielded, as you can see here. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Let's claw up that like button and turn it from silver to diamond. Leave a comment if you want and possibly subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Oh crap, are those pirates really? They're using my dang avocado mining drones? What the heck? Guys. I was not expecting random avocado mining drones to come here. Start lighting things up. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. I'm going to end it before these other pirates get over here. In the next video I'm probably going to be going over the rail unload and rail load systems, because on the wiki it just tells you how they work and not how you're supposed to actually use them in conjunction with other blocks. So that's something that I haven't found a video on yet either, so I'm probably going to make a video on that. And hopefully it's going to sound a little more professional than what I just threw together here. And yeah. And maybe I'll also show you how the heck I made that literal machine gun turret. Because I'm not kidding when I say this thing surprised even me, and I made the darn thing. So let me get over there and demonstrate for a future video if anyone might be interested in seeing how the heck I made this thing. It's not the prettiest looking turret by a long shot. However, it functions like the best turret in the world would. Like, observe and weep. That's one turret. That's one turret. I'm planning to put a couple more throughout this entire station, so I actually have a really nice defense system. So, I don't know, look forward to that. Hello my avocado, and this is my potato tomato. Don't judge my choice of words for these ships. That is their names.